Governor Newsom says he is fed up. There are no more excuses. He says the state has done its part, providing plenty of funding to get encampments cleared up. He wants to see the results now. Governor Newsom made the announcement here in Los Angeles yesterday. He joined Caltrans to clear several encampment sites.
And we had our big beach body challenge today. 50 pull-ups, 100 push-ups. You try to get under 5 minutes. We got close. I was about 5:25. You were right behind me.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Punch Up Pod with Lila and Pat, our TMI, Thursday Media Inanity. How are you, Pat?
Or too much information since it's our third day here. I mean,
Yes.
that's one way.
That's maybe
We have
better.
more information than you can. You can't handle the information.
You can't. Oh, that's actually one of my favorite Few Good Men. I love that. You can't handle the truth.
Rob Reiner.
Yep.
Shout out to Undo the Voodoo. Undo the Voodoo.
Okay. It's time to undo we got to do something because whatever we've been doing, they're not hearing us up there. We need to add the voodoo. All right, let's just get to it. Thursdays we try to catch up so that we can start the whole week fresh and get through the news cycle. Of course, there's always so much to catch up on, but we want to ask everyone please to like and subscribe and smash that notification bell. We have not been covering COVID with the regularity that we initially did. That does not mean that we are not in our, I think, 11th wave, and that some huge studies have come out. And honestly, I mean, for somebody like me, I don't know a ton about the in-depth part, but we were talking about the dysregulation of the immune system and T cells and how this was sort of like airborne AIDS in 2021. But more and more studies keep coming out to substantiate that claim.
Yeah, I mean, they have they've done those studies where they dissect a mouse that has COVID, and they show that how it affects all their organs up and down, their whole nervous system, compared to the flu, which stays regulated in a couple spots. And I mean, that's just one clear example. You see the visual and you're like, it's not the flu, because you see it's hitting all your organs.
It's in all your organs, and it doesn't leave. It persists
in
your organs.
But as you said, nothing has been debunked that we've reported on from going back 3 years of COVID.
Yeah.
It's all been reinforced that, those weren't outlier studies. That's all what's happening.
Exactly. And the most effective way, as we all know, is to wear a fucking mask. Don't be a baby. Put on your face diaper. And so to that end, our cheers is a little Christmas jingle. I think that I don't want to get it wrong. It might have been Kimiko or Kitty who first pointed us in this direction. So we want to give props out to whoever did, but I don't remember. So that's not great in the props department. But this is, I think it's Huli R. Huli R. Singing a little Christmas jingle.
And now a Christmas jingle for the people on the left. I don't want a lot for Christmas. There is just one thing I need. I don't care if you say you're a leftist, socialist, Marxist, commie. There's something missing from your praxis. It's time to listen to the faxes. Please don't make me ask. Get your shit together and mask. she did it in a jingle. She did it in such a fun, whimsical way. She brought up masking in a different way. Sometimes she's angry. Sometimes she's happy. Sometimes she delivers the message differently. Will it take a jingle? Does a jingle, is that what it takes to get you to mask? Will you mask now? Will you care about your community now? How many times do we have to ask? How many times?
I can't believe we are in the 6th year, coming up towards the end of the 6th year of COVID.
Yeah, it's crazy that they're just now starting to do things they've known forever you should be doing. Like the California CDC, to their credit, when they're now saying to wear a mask, which is not a big message. It's not on the TV shows. It's not a commercial you see, but their official tweet message is wear a high quality mask like an N95 or N94, because those are massively better than the baggy blues that they're handing out and that they've been pushing the whole time to wear.
Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. And, you know, as we're seeing, you know, it's like, oh, norovirus and the flu, they're so much worse. People are getting hospitalized. Yes, because we have destroyed our collective immune systems. That is why. So wear a mask. And then people are like, oh, well, if a mask works, then what difference does it make? Like, anyway, we've had this fight a million times. I mean, not between us, but like it's just exhausting, and they're liars. And it does actually just shock me that people on the left who want a revolution, who believe in socialism or communism, who very clearly see that our government lies all the time, that they have no compunction about committing a genocide or denying us healthcare or a living wage so that people are thrown out on the street and they don't have money and they're burdened with debt and suicides increase and ICE and all of that. But COVID's just a cold.
And the pandemic, you know, well, they went the other way with the government's lying to us because they want to prop up big pharma and sell us the like, no, they want us to work and die and not have protections and not have health care. Like that's the universal message. And just a reminder, I mean, at least if you're not wearing a mask as your daily praxis, right, you should be, right? That's if you're in public around people, you really should be.
Yeah.
But if you're sick, you are contagious possibly for a full 2 fucking weeks with COVID, right?
Yeah.
You know, but on average, like 7 to 10 days, you know. So these people that get a cold and they have it for 2 days and then they're like, well, I feel better now, so I'm going to be out in public. Do us at least a solid and put on a mask when you're fucking sick, and then you should wear it for 2 weeks.
Yeah,
at least, you know, I mean, that's
100%. And also just as a reminder that unless you are testing yourself every day, you don't actually know when you're sick or contagious, or if you have an asymptomatic case, or if you are pre-symptomatic, you just don't know. So, I don't know. I am not going to not be joyful. That's my double negative. I'm going to have a little bit of joy. All right. Are we spinning, or are we just doing it? Because we don't have as much time on Thursdays. We just call it, right?
Yeah, we'll just bring our own joy.
All right.
Joy. We sort of have joy. What kind of joy do you want? We have two joys. We have a what the fuck, or we have cats.
You tell me. I'm gonna put it in your hands, Pat. You're the boss for this moment.
Let's play it safe with the cats.
Okay.
Cat's sleeping.
Oh my God.
That cat broke.
That was adorable. I needed that.
Can I cancel it out right away with something my cat did this morning?
Oh, geez. Tell me what.
My outdoor cat slept out last night, which it's up to him. If he's
All
not
right.
in by 1 or 2, I'm not
Right.
letting him in.
Right.
But I woke up to obviously an offering from the cat, and it is an ambiguous animal that I don't know what is left of it. It's just sacks of guts and things.
On your front stoop or something?
On
or
my front porch. Yeah. Right
How-
outside my door. It's just
how
and
big?
large, I mean, squirrel size at least. But no, I can't identify what it is. I don't know what it was.
But that is Pablo's offering, right? Like that's him being kind to you.
Yeah. And I have a vision because the little cat, the kitten, likes to hop up in the window and look out at the world that she can't visit.
Oh.
And I think he was just enjoying it in front of her, like, hey, look at this.
Or
This
maybe
is my
he
world.
can't tell the difference between you and Strike in terms of who's allowed out or not really, right? So maybe it was an offering for both of you. I'm going to choose that because I noticed that you did a post where Pablo was grooming Strike, and that was a lot of beautiful sibling love.
It's pretty wild after 2 years of hating the cat. Literally, he wouldn't come in my apartment for the first 6 months at all.
Yeah.
He would just sniff her and just get mad, and sometimes just attack me and then run out.
Yeah. Well, you're doing something right. You brought them together.
Yeah.
It's good parenting
All right.
there.
Peace on earth.
Peace on earth. And yet. All right. Let's just get right into it. We should just talk about these new Hunger Games, which I thought we had pulled, and I don't see it. We just have the announcement, I guess, which is Trump announcing the creation of the Patriot Games, an unprecedented 4-day athletic event with one young man and one young woman from each state and territory, which is being labeled the Hunger Games, as if we could not try any harder to just be an entire reality TV show of shit in this country.
I mean, we got the WWE, MMA, I don't know, mixed martial arts coming to the White House soon. We got Hunger Games. I hope those 2 people that win get health care. I don't know. What's on the table for them,
They go back to their what's it called? Their tribe, their territory. What's it called in the Hunger Games? Their tribune. No, what is it? Tribunals? I don't even know. They go back somewhere and they get very little, actually. They probably get very little for all of that effort.
Sounds right.
Yeah. Just the worst people in the world. And in addition, just as a lovely little icing on the cake of Trump, this is hilarious, actually. Caroline Leavitt announced that she was informed that the highly respected board of the Kennedy Center, some of the most successful people from all parts of the world, have just voted unanimously to rename the Kennedy Center to the Trump Kennedy Center because of the unbelievable work of President Trump. Even just saying successful people, that's the, what does that even mean for them? It just means rich people, but nothing about their talents, their output, their humanitarian, whatever they might be, just rich, just some rich people.
Just rich.
But one of the members of the board says, Representative Joyce Beatty, for the record, this was not unanimous. I was muted on the call and not allowed to speak or voice my opposition to this very democratic, unanimous move.
I mean, it feels very Pete Buttigieg. If you don't contact me by midnight, I have your support and endorsement.
437 leaders of the Black community across the country. This is your chance, and if you don't respond to this email in 5 minutes, you're on my letterhead. We did it. It just continues. They love this sort of troll thing. They're really into the Christmas trolling. U.S. Department of Education. This seems to be all that Linda McMahon's job description entails at this point, is putting out ridiculous little, jingles and Christmas posts. Take a look at the latest offenders on Santa's naughty list. And the naughty list includes the offenses of masking children, championing men in women's sports, and keeping schools closed during COVID.
I mean, the 1 in 3 are protecting kids. So, that's what the crimes of 1 in 3 are on that.
Yeah.
What
Closing schools.
Whatever. It affects so little people. No one's championing men in sports. It's just protecting civil rights, essentially.
Absolutely. It's such a small, I mean, yeah, to get into the whole trans debate. And listen, I know that there are people who have differing opinions from my opinion. And I do think that, there's a possibility that discussion should be had, at least for those people that understand better why it is okay. Or we can all agree to disagree on certain things, possibly. I don't know. But to focus so much on such a small segment of our population who, again, are the most marginalized and abused percentage-wise, killed by police, killed by, just random horrific hate crimes.
Yeah.
Like, to make that your focus is evil, but that's who they are. They love.
And it's just brokering junk news that's not even true. Like I don't know who it was that said the other day that like the last, it was on the Joe Rogan show, I think, that they were like the last 50 or so mass shootings were done by trans, a large number of them, some garbage number, right?
Lies,
and it turns out it was only like 5 out of the last 5,000 mass shootings.
Yeah.
They were just so massively off, and they just run with it like it's the truth. It's absurd.
Yeah, it's I mean, we are now in both the reality TV world and the podcast bro world, and it's a shit ass world. I hate it so much. I hate it because it's so buffoonish. I know she's really cute. It's so buffoonish, but it's there to distract while they really are, looting the building. Like, they are getting away with everything, including, destroying our constitutional rights. This is the Trump administration is trying to root out what it sees as rampant left-wing domestic terrorism, raising concerns among security experts and lawmakers that broad categories of American speech could come under surveillance. Really? I have not seen many of our lawmakers, shouting from the rooftops about this. But anyway, a memo from Attorney General Pam Bondi said these agendas may merit federal investigation. Anti-Americanism, anti-capitalism, anti-Christianity.
Check.
Opposition to law and immigration enforcement. Radical gender ideology, hostility towards traditional views on family, religion, and morality. What's really interesting to me in here is, and I mean, they're doing, obviously they're crushing all protests. There are no protests on campus anymore because they've bribed or not bribed, but what's it called? Blackmailed major universities with withholding funding and under the pretend guise of fighting anti-Semitism. It is interesting, though, that they don't put that on there. That wasn't part of the list.
Yeah, I mean, that list is just to make sure that we're all on it one way or another. And especially the last one was the most vague of them all, like religion, morality. Just views on family, religion, morality. Like, that's just
traditional.
Wide open.
Traditional. Whose tradition? You freaks. Whose tradition? Yeah. Just to because I'm gonna whiplash really fast, but this just happened in the UK. They are criminalizing globalized intifada. Israel and the UK issuing a press statement to the United Kingdom welcomes the joint announcement by the Metropolitan Police and Greater Manchester Police Forces that they will arrest people promoting the phrase globalize the intifada. As Israel and the Jewish community have been saying for years, calling to globalize the intifada is clearly indictment to violence. It's not. That's a lie. The first intifada was almost entirely peaceful. And and a direct line can be drawn between these anti-Semitic chants and the acts of terror that we have seen against Jewish people worldwide. Disappointing it has taken such a long time for British authorities to recognize this, and it should not have been on the Jewish community to plead with the authorities to take these threats seriously, only being done so after more Jews have been killed. However, we now hope that real action is now taken to stop this chant before it can lead to further radicalization and violence against Jews. I don't know. I don't know.
And look, if they're doing that in the UK, they're going to be doing it here. They're trying to do it here.
I mean, look what happened. Like the second the Bondi attacks happened, the shootings happened, there was like 300 from big accounts, posts, and articles written about this is where globalized intifada leads. It's not where an apartheid genocidal state leads. Yeah, sorry.
Well, no, there's definitely a nexus between that and the $750 million that they're now investing into social media propaganda.
Yep. I mean, yes, they are hell-bent on making this, imperialist colonial project continue. I mean, but we are definitely in the last throes of a dying empire. This is not the way the beacon of democracy was initially imagined to exist, right? We should be able to handle hate language, even if you consider that hate language.
Yeah, and this is from the we're always the victims party, which is
calling the snowflake.
Yeah, the snowflake kind of thing with the left can't take a joke. The left is it's just speech. We're just dropping the R word and let's bring the N word back and let's that group is now fully beholden to Israel and they did it in the way that you said. They basically blackmailed essentially the media and our institutions across the board. So all the major television stations, they settled that major lawsuit that Trump had just the garbagest case in the world against, was it MSNBC? I don't remember anymore, but anyway, they never would have won the lawsuit. Trump never would have won the lawsuit, but just because knowing the power that he had over them, they settled the case,
Absolutely. I mean, and again, I would say I have very few friends in real life anymore anyway, but like to have a genocide be committed in the name of Jews everywhere, to have the liberal institutions, small L liberal institutions in our country and in the West, like, Western democracy, and we have the same values and all that kind of bullshit, to have that completely crushed in the name of protecting Jews does not protect Jews. It makes the whole world hate us even more, in addition to the genocide being carried out by a state that says they are the state of Jews, which I renounce entirely. But like this doesn't make anybody safer. It makes America a very weak democracy. And I know they have much more stringent hate speech laws in Germany and in the UK. But like in the UK, we showed that. We showed he was pro-Palestinian, but he was going around saying, as they were arresting anti-genocide protesters who were saying from the river to the sea and stop the genocide, who were being arrested, pro-Palestine, he went up to the cops and said, I'm pro-genocide. Are you going to arrest me? And they're like, no, you have free speech. You can say that you're pro-genocide. I'm pro-genocide. You're not going to arrest me, but you're arresting the person who says free Palestine. Yep. That's where we are.
But none of this is winning over the MAGA Republican right. They can't stand this whole focus on another country and the influence they have. And that's part of why they're so enravaged by, or that's the wrong word, but they're so captivated by the Epstein files, because of the Mossad connection. These are not things that the left made up. They've been championing this before we were even, because Clinton was on the Epstein files, right? So So that's why they're making this big effort to protect Judaism, because they can conflate Christianity and Judaism as pretty close to each other religiously,
Right.
versus the radical right Islam. So they can make it's all a project to protect Israel still.
Yeah. Yes. And I mean, this is where you and I always have this thing where it comes down like, who are we protecting and what and why? And yes, it is to protect Israel, but for the US, it's to protect global hegemony, and Israel is the, quote unquote, Western democracy, but it's really our military outpost in the Middle East. And as there's no part of me that thinks that this whole administration isn't rife with anti-Semites. We see the things that they say and whom they accept into their crowd, and the things that they will say very openly that are anti-Jewish. But they're using this to fight against anybody who speaks out or protests against the imperial powers and the militarism of the US.
Absolutely. And they need a scapegoat, which is, hey, it's always convenient, brown people, that other crazy wacky religion, so
Mark Penn.
And that,
yep.
The last few people hanging on to MAGA are pretty much the racist fuckheads, and then the rich people who don't care about anything. They'll go to Jeffrey Epstein if he has a tax tip,
Oh my God. Or some kids to rape. Speaking of, because I have to say, I mean, everything about Epstein and the people who cavorted with him is repulsive. They all belong in, dungeons, as far as I'm concerned, for raping children. And the glee that they took, I didn't see anything in this latest big expose New York Times piece that was something that we hadn't really known before. I don't know. It was just sort of interesting. Like there were a couple of pictures and stuff, but it wasn't like to the level that this was the thing here. Okay. Huge story from New York Times investigation into the Trump Epstein relationship. I mean, what's shocking to me is the subtitle here, Don's Best Friend, How Epstein and Trump Bonded Over the Pursuit of Women. Pursuit of women.
Well, that's their sort of spin on it, is that he was just a lady man in the 80s. They were just out there. Oh, look at them at a party dancing, talking about the hot little models out there, like, you should go get her, Jeff, and Don.
Yeah.
But we're talking about kids. That's what this is really about.
Yeah, we're talking about kids, and we're also talking about even some of them who made it to 18 who were legally adults. But we're also talking about not just pursuit, we're talking about rape, right? So we're talking about not pursuit, rape, and we're talking about not women, children. And somehow the New York Times, big investigative, by the way, which many outlets have covered this for, over a decade now. They're finally coming to the table, but that's how they phrase it is a little bit shocking to me.
Well, there's an editorial I think they did that was why you shouldn't care about the Epstein files, basically,
Oh,
so,
yeah. Do you know who wrote it? David Brooks.
Oh, David Brooks. Yes.
And guess what? This afternoon, House Democrats released a new tranche of photos of an event that Brooks attended with Epstein. A month ago, he had written a column decrying the media and political fixation on the Epstein file story, because of course he did.
Yeah. Well, I think tomorrow is going to be the interesting day, because tomorrow is when they're legally mandated to release a lot of this stuff.
Yeah.
And Congress just declared that they are not going to be in session as they normally are tomorrow. They're going on vacation early
for the holidays.
Christmas. I got to run. I would explain myself, but I got to run.
So what happens? It gets released, but no, if the Epstein files get released in Congress and nobody's there, do they make a noise?
Well, I haven't even looked into this because I worked until literally 10 minutes before the show. But I know that I think what you're going to get is just a bunch of black pages just redacted as shit, because the claim they're making about why they shouldn't have been released, they can't release them, is that traditionally when you redact documents, all the documents should go back to their origin, the Department of Origin, to protect the parties involved. That's what they're claiming.
Right.
And so my hunch is it's just going to be black pages.
Yeah.
They're going to say, yeah, we have to do the responsible thing and protect everybody until we have enough time to get this back. But I think there's going to be enough. They're going to fuck up the release enough that there's going to be a lot of juicy stuff still tomorrow, I think.
I hope so. But I feel like there's so much stuff anyway that is actionable and nobody's taking action. Do you know what I mean? Like we know so much of this, and all the most powerful people are not going to be I mean, they're heavily implicated, but nothing's going to change.
Well, there's enough there's enough information in the Epstein files that's public right now that should launch investigations into a lot of the parties involved, just right from what we have already. You should be, when you know that somebody was in contact with him and at the island 27 times, and all this stuff happened at the island, that should be enough to subpoena some of the email records between him and some of these other parties. But all we're running on is Epstein's side of these things, and not,
And then we have Vanity Fair doing a profile on Trump's White House with his chief of staff saying, yes, he's in the Epstein files, but he didn't do anything wrong. It's very clear. And yes, so is Bill Clinton, but he was never on the island. So we have like a lot of different spheres of power collaborating to try to exonerate everybody from this man who had a global empire trafficking children to be raped by the most powerful people in the world. And apparently it was just him doing all of the abuse by himself. It's the craziest crime ever. Oh, you're muted.
And the right pretty much they test launched this whole propaganda that, well, do you want to find out about Bill Clinton? And everyone on the left is like, yeah, tell us about Bill too. Tell us about all these fuckers. So the only people protecting them, and the only people that don't want all this stuff out in the public, is those members of Congress who their constituents force them to act on it because it's so politically untenable to defend a pedophile, rapist, child trafficking piece of shit, that they're gonna fake it as much as they can through this.
Yeah. So just, a couple of the four of the photos that were released. One from Jeffrey Epstein's estate. The images include a Ukrainian passport, Bill Gates posing with a woman whose face was redacted, a screenshot of text discussing the sending of girls, and a photo of a foot bearing a quote from Lolita. I mean,
Yeah. That release makes me a little suspect, though. I think they put Bill Gates out there to sort of show like, oh, well, he was the good guy. So you're seeing Bill Gates. And when they know, maybe they already know that Bill Gates wasn't really involved in this. And that's a release valve of like, well, you saw Bill Gates. He wasn't even doing anything. It's just sensational stuff.
Okay. That's interesting. I didn't get that. And wait, this was by Democratic Oversight Democrats. Because I think that they are now feeling a little more free to disavow people like Bill Clinton and Bill Gates. I think for Bill Gates, it's because he's gone the way of all the rest of the tech bros, and they know that's not popular. Because I don't think that having him pose with a woman whose face is redacted, knowing that his wife left him, and one of the main reasons she said was because of that. Like, I don't know, maybe you're right, but I'm kind of feeling like maybe they are like, oh, no good billionaires. Yeah,
but when you dig deeper, Bill Gates is with a 21-year-old. Like, she didn't look like an underage woman. She may be, I don't know, but I'm just saying, like,
right.
It's sort of softening the blow, like, oh, we put out this thing. Well, that picture turns out to not be
she's not a child, and it was consensual.
Yeah. And, so it's like, oh, there were people that wanted to be at Diddy's party, kind of thing.
But don't you think that no matter what, by 2008, he, what's his name? Epstein was a convicted pederast, right? So,
which is why we're seeing the pictures of Chomsky and him on a plane too. Our hero Chomsky. So
not on a plane. Not
Was
on a
that not on a
plane.
plane?
Still awful,
Oh.
but I don't think on a plane. I think just at like some of these, rich people's soirees. No, it's still gross. I mean, it's gross, but like a little
I saw a
different.
plain one, but it could have been AI.
Really?
It really could have been AI. I didn't have time to dig in and look, but somebody tell me. I don't know.
But like, my feeling is whether or not Bill Gates is with that woman consensually, what he is also doing consensually is hanging out with a convicted child rapist. So like nothing
Yes.
softens the blow for me.
Yes.
But I mean, I understand that I understand we're on the same page about that.
I mean, I'm just thinking strategy wise,
Yeah.
the Democrats, they're not being heroic, I don't think, with this stuff because sorry, my cat has just decided this green screen has to go.
She really is.
And she's just attacking the shit out of it right now.
So
anyway.
Here's the other thing that's just interesting to me. So Dan Bongino, who's the deputy FBI under Kash Patel, is resigning. I mean, he's just been a total disaster, obviously. But like going back to his podcast, Trump said he just wants to go back to his show, probably. But like he sort of made his name with the MAGA crowd talking about the Epstein files, and then sat there with Kash Patel and said, "Oh yeah, no, nobody was in it. There are no files. There is no black book." And now he's quitting. And is he going to go? Like, does he still have an audience? Is he discredited? Does anybody
and
care?
is he quitting because this release is going to be salacious and it proves that was full of shit by standing by this position with Kash Patel that there was nothing in there and there's no list?
But I don't think he's a man of integrity. So like, my feeling is he must be getting pushed out instead of like, why isn't Kash Patel getting pushed out? We have 2 major homicides that have happened in the last week in the Massachusetts, Rhode Island area, right? There was the mass shooting at Brown. And then 2 nights ago, an MIT nuclear physicist was assassinated. Right. And now there's, they say, oh, they might be connected because a similar car that belonged to the person who they have now identified, who I think maybe just died by suicide in the last 2 hours because they were targeting him. The FBI got to him in, New Hampshire. Anyway, but they said, well, maybe there was some connection there because there was a similar car. I think it was like a Nissan Sentra seen near the professor's town home in Boston, which feels like a kind of a big stretch because that's not that uncommon a car.
Oh, a Nissan. You never see Nissans.
Never see a gray Nissan. But like, who puts that out there and why would they in Trump's, FBI? Because all that does is add fuel to all the conspiracy fire. So it makes I just feel like I'm in a world where I don't trust anything anybody says anywhere.
Yeah.
And that's
part of the plan on this, fuzz it all up.
Yeah.
I mean, this is where the AI stuff does come in. They just got people, looking at things and you think it's real because you didn't dig in and see if that is really Chomsky next to Epstein on the plane or, that kind of thing. It all just adds fuel to this stuff.
It's really, sorry. I'm looking because a few people, Pat was right. A few people are saying that there was one of Chomsky on a plane. Oh, geez.
I don't know if it's real though. Somebody AI. Somebody asked Grok if it was real.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Don't do that. Please don't do that.
No. Yeah. We don't use Grok. Okay. So I know we've just kind of been bebopping all over the place. In the midst of this Brown FBI investigation. So, we had Kash Patel show up after the Butler shooting of Charlie Kirk and refused to leave the plane until he got his spruced up little FBI jacket. And now, as we have, another mass shooting at Brown, then 2 days later, the assassination of this professor, even though it was recorded before, Kash Patel should not be going on Katie Miller's podcast with his girlfriend. Like, everything just feels like a circus show, and it feels intentionally that way, right?
Well, and when you first brought up that why isn't Kash Patel resigning, I'm like, because of his honeypot wife.
I mean,
Mossad, his wife, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the connections are all like, it feels very conspiracy theory to even say that, but like, also look at him, look at her, look at his position, look at how he got the power.
I mean,
It's very fucking odd. Like, it's right there in front of you.
Very odd. Let's just take a quick look at the promotion for that podcast episode.
We are so excited to be joined by Kash and his beautiful girlfriend, Alexis. So I just want to clarify, you're not Jewish.
I'm not.
You are not from Israel.
No.
So how did we get to, are you a Mossad agent?
You know, that's a great question.
Where's her ring? Just to clarify, how often has he traveled to see you since January 20th? Has there been one moment where you're like, you can't make this up?
Every moment is like, you can't make this up. Every single one. Oh, you're muted again. Good Lord.
Sorry. And look, since we're on the honeypot, that was Stephen Miller's wife. Like,
yeah. I mean, come on. Okay. And then let's just go down this disgusting path, because it does all feel intertwined. And even though, like, the whole Charlie Kirk, Erica Kirk, all of it's nauseating to me. And none of it's like important because of who they are, but how it's being used right now. Like, you know, lionizing Charlie Kirk and Erica Kirk's, like, you know, town hall with Bari Weiss, who was put there by Larry Ellison. All, like, it's all just one big swirl of Zionism and controlling the media and the narrative. So one thing that we didn't talk about last week was this little snippet from that full town hall with Erica Kirk talking to Bari Weiss about never having dated in New York before meeting Charlie Kirk.
When I lived out here, I was here for 5 years. I never dated here because I saw vicariously through my roommate how terrible it was. Somehow getting drinks was the replacement of having coffee and breakfast. I personally would rather have coffee or brunch with someone than going, I don't drink. I find it unproductive, not because I'm holier than whatever. I just don't operate that way. But I always thought it was very strange how she would go to drinks with one guy and then go to dinner with another. My situation was a little different. I went to it.
You went to a job interview.
Literally. So this is how good the Lord is. He knew that because I was not dating in New York City, he knew that in order for me to know that that was my man, he had to blanket Charlie as a job interview. Because if that went in, no joke, if he came to me and said, hey, let's go on a date to Bill's Burgers, I'd be like,
okay. So she says all this stuff like she's been this pure Christian, non-drinking person. When the internet exists, it's so easy to refute her lies. This is her in 2018, 3 years, before she met Charlie Kirk.
So how do you two ladies know each other?
We were in Miss USA together.
Oh, cool.
So she was Arizona and I was Miss North Carolina.
Okay. I want to meet somebody with the same beliefs. I'm like a really big Christian. I'm like...
So you wouldn't meet him at church or anything?
It's tough because, like, I watch it online.
I don't think I've ever met anybody that's like, hey, I'm going to go to church on Sunday.
I go to 2 different churches. It's tough to be a believer in the city.
Yeah.
I think you're a bright light in a very dark place.
So let's go grab a mojito? Yeah. We'll go grab a drink.
Oh, fine. Chopped liver.
Apparently.
It's like genuinely refreshing to have a conversation with somebody that like has the same beliefs. You coming in here just like owning it.
I appreciate that.
I'm really attracted to it. Can I get your number? Or like,
yeah.
How do you text with those nails that long too?
They're real.
I bet you give like a mean back scratch. I mean, I don't even know how long you've been in New York.
Gosh, New York. I moved here 4 years ago.
How old are you? Can I ask you that? All right, I can't.
So why lie about that? Like what? Like that's, I guess what I'm trying to piece together is what the fuck is going on? Then, you know, more people, because she says out loud, I didn't date anybody before that. people are finding, of course, like old Instagram posts of her with some other guy, which I mean, like, that's not what I'm judging. I don't care about any of that. I care about the lie and what it is trying to service, especially when it's so clearly, not disputed, but debunked. That was from a show called Summer House, season 3. And I think it must have had, at least for that season, some sort of Christian theme. I'm not entirely sure. But then there's also, so she dated this guy named Cabot Phillips before Charlie Kirk, even though both she and Cabot Phillips have like deleted their Hope profiles. The replies to their relationship are still there. So this user, Noxy Love, whatever, went through, and they're all of these, you guys are such a cute couple, lovebirds, to different pictures that they posted. That was, I think, in 2017. And then here's a picture of Charlie Kirk with Cabot Phillips saying, yep, I beat Cabot one-on-one, not sick of winning. And Cabot Phillips is now touring the country saying how to be more like Charlie for talking, or what is it? Turning Point USA, TP USA. Like, all of it just feels so bizarre.
Yeah, I don't know that I'm just trying to piece this together in my head. Like, was she being elevated from the start to become a person of interest that had the means to connect with something like TPUSA?
Well, remember that picture we showed yesterday that was in Arizona, and it was her and Yair Netanyahu's son,
right,
and Tyler, somebody who's another producer at TPUSA, and that was before Charlie Kirk. So, and they were saying we're the Arizona APAC chapter. That was the joke. And it was from like 2017 or 2018, 2019. It was like from 6-7 years ago. And that was their thing. And then also her story about how she met Charlie was in line at some tourist thing in Israel. Like,
no, it doesn't add up. Like, could it have happened? Sure. But then when you get the connections back to Netanyahu in 2017, it wasn't this fusion of Christianity and Judaism. It wasn't like the religious right wasn't super pro Judaism yet. Like, they weren't conflating the two to try to gain support in this country, but this could have been the whole project. And that was the nexus of reaching Charlie Kirk. And Charlie Kirk is hugely responsible for Trump winning.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. And, I think, yes, her parents are both former something in the intelligence world. And, for older people, I do think that Christian Zionism they've been working towards that for quite some time now, for decades, honestly. But I think to bring in a younger cohort was that new project. But again, like, I don't know, you have all of this stuff that you put out there on the internet, and then you're going to lie. I mean, this is why, like, then when you see every single person who is either, a tech bro, a ruling elite person, owning media, wanting to be part of media, stop anti-Semitism, all of those people, the one focus they all have is we need to control social media.
Right. Yeah. Look, when they get to the point where they can just flatly deny a truth, which we're at that point now, especially with AI, that addition helps them a lot in that cause.
Yeah.
And you can also use social media to cordon off. If you're right wing, you're going to see the right wing version of this, left wing, the left wing version, and that kind of thing. Although the true left never sees anybody. We just don't have, nobody retweets us anymore because we just don't get shown to anybody.
It's the craziest that's like done.
Be able to say, hey, my cat just ate some crunchies, and they would get like 200 tweets. Now it's like Israel bombed Iran, 4 tweets.
Yeah.
Nothing. It's
Nothing.
just,
it's crazy. And also, as they're talking about, free Palestine and wearing a keffiyeh or watermelon or saying globalized intifada is a call to violence. But this, Happy Hanukkah, and where the candle should be, it's a pager and it's beep, beep. That's a joke. That terrorist attack on Lebanese civilians that killed scores of people and disabled,
named lots of
people,
kids,
named children. Yeah, that's just a joke. But calling for self-determination for Palestinians is somehow a call to violence. It's, we are like, and so, and this is what they're protecting. Mass graves that were just uncovered. Inside mass graves, children and babies were found with hands bound by zip ties. This photo is from 2 mass graves discovered at Nasser Hospital in southern Gaza in April. During the genocide, Euromed documented over 130 mass graves of victims of the Israeli genocide. And you see how small the circumference of some of those zip ties are. And that's
so
what they
disgusting.
are protecting.
And I don't know, we may have shown it, but when the international community wants to judge if someone's starving their population,
right,
they measure the muscle. They measure a certain part of your arm to see how much muscle tissue and whatever's there. And that's evidence when you're testing a population and how much muscle mass is left and what's, so this is all just proof. It's not like, that's why they won't let any journalists in, because this would actually, not that it would get reported on mainstream journalism anyway, but the evidence is overwhelming. These people are sick bastards and need to be stopped.
Yeah. There was just recently, there is a Harvard professor, Ruth Weiss, talking about how in Israel, they all serve their time. So journalists have to serve their time by protecting Jews. And I mean, that is really like the Hezbollah, the relative, like who gets to be shown empathy, who's the terrorist, which words we use to describe a massacre, how anything that happens to Palestinians is written about in legacy media in the passive voice, how they will talk about the Bondi shootings ad nauseum 24 hours a day from when it happens. And we still talk about October 7th, which, okay, fine. But there have been how many, hundreds of October 7ths committed against Palestinians since October 7th and before.
There were daily
right?
October 7ths through the whole last 3 years.
Yeah. So, I mean, and the lack of any compassion or solidarity from most U.S. journalists to their Palestinian colleagues, more who have been killed than in any other conflict, and put together.
And just currently what's happening there, right? So the ceasefire didn't end. They're killing less people daily with bombs, but the entire population is under massive bad weather, flooding. The tents are gone. The pop-up tents are gone. There's sewage in the streets, and there's no food coming into these people.
Or tents or aid, which is against, not only does Israel violate the ceasefire, I think they've killed almost 400 people since the ceasefire by actual assassinations and shootings, but also part of that was supposed to be to allow in, they've completely put a blockade on UNRWA, but even, other UN factions who have aid there, they are not letting in. They say everything is dual use. And nobody's talking about that. We just keep talking about the ceasefire. And the environmental concerns are really major as well.
I was just thinking about, I listened to a interview with Francisca Albanese, and the interviewer was grilling her, but would you still say that things are better now? Like that's the whole narrative they want, is that, yeah, I mean, it's better now though. It's better now though. But right now they're starving and everyone's dying of disease and starvation. So yeah, just because you don't, it's better that you're not bombing as much, but you still got to feed these people. You still got to get medicine in there. Their futures are still as bleak as they were when you were bombing.
Absolutely, because they are having to walk through raw sewage with no protection from the environment, with no good food. All that's being let in is high calorie, high sugar junk food, basically, and plus Oxycontin and fentanyl. Like, it is just, they keep finding new ways to be evil and to destroy this population. And we're being told that saying globalized intifada is the problem. I mean, it's like just a different reality. Yeah, it really is. All right. Do you want to show something fun? And then we were going to do to talk about ICE a little bit, or where are we on that?
Yeah. Let's go into a little bit more. I don't know how fun this is, but this is a cartoon, so that's fun.
Look at that.
Here's our what the fuck.
Look at that. The humans are developing tools. They're using that as weapons. Okay. Awesome. The humans developed fire. That's going to really... they're using that as a weapon. Hey, look what they got there. They found a new way to transport themselves across the oceans of that planet. That's pretty cool. That's going to help them travel. They're using it as a weapon. Okay, well, this new transportation that they got seems pretty solid. They're able to fly across the world, so that's... and they're using it as a weapon. Look, they're using nuclear technology. They're finally smartening up. This is going to be great for them. This was great for our society. It made us be able to travel across the stars to other planets. Oh my God, they're using it for bombs. What the hell is wrong with this planet?
Wasn't that fun? A fun little break?
I mean, it wasn't as good as the Sleeping Kitties, but it was good. All right, this is the chief of Minneapolis, the police chief of Minneapolis, Brian O'Hara, talking about ICE.
The Minneapolis Police Department is committed to honoring the human dignity of every person in our community. The Minneapolis Police Department does not participate in immigration enforcement. We do not care and do not ask people about immigration status. People in our community need to know that they can feel confident that when they need help, they can call 911, and we will show up for everyone, and not be afraid to call because they think we might turn them over for some civil immigration violation. That's not our job. Our mission is to keep everyone in this town safe, and we cannot accomplish that if a huge segment of this community is too scared to call us when they need help, because that makes everyone less safe.
Okay.
Lila, what are you doing? What are you doing? You're making me like a cop?
No, that's what I'm saying. I feel like this whole fucking thing is a psyop, because what is it when they make us root for a cop in Minneapolis, which is where they killed George Floyd? And now we're going to be like, oh, lesser evil because of fucking ICE. Like, they're dragging women, as always, Status Quo has been doing such great on the ground reporting, and a lot of reporting with ICE. And they, they're journalists, they're getting like frostbitten, they're getting arrested, they're getting hit with, less lethals and tear gas. Like, they're being so abused while also doing this really phenomenal reporting. A pregnant woman being dragged out, thrown onto her stomach with a cop kneeling on her back. Like, there are Nazis. But then to put that out, and I'm kind of just like, I don't know. I feel like this is some big psyop, because I'm never going to be on the side of the cops.
And it's also trust me, bro. Trust me. Just call us. Call us.
He's going to kneel with the Kenta cop. Yeah, exactly.
I don't know. Fuck the police. That's the moral of the story at the end of the day. Until you show me that the police can do anything fucking good for society, and show me a police force that isn't racist, and get that in place, and I'll talk about not hating the fucking police.
Yeah, I 100%, 100%. There was just one. Oh, I did think this was sort of interesting, and because yesterday when I saw that Bongino was resigning, I knew I had just read this really good article, and I was like, "Huh, that's so." But I conflated the two names, so I am correcting myself. Bongino, deputy FBI director, resigning. Bovino, different, is still, just doing his goonish behavior everywhere he goes. I think he's back in Chicago now. There's a really interesting profile of him, but it also included some, I know, Lila was wrong, some revelations about what happens inside of, the ICE, the Department of ICE. So this was a profile in the Chicago Sun-Times. Greg Bovino is the star of Trump's deportation show. We trace his roots. So first of all, sort of funny that this woman who was a former Border Patrol senior agent calls Bovino the Liberace of the Border Patrol for his flamboyant behavior and the camera crews that trail him on raids, producing and distributing videos of aggressive immigration busts. He is just a little Napoleon who wants you to think that he's the hero and the most moral and capable guy in the world, and everything around you is dangerous, she said in an interview. Then they talk about how his family actually came here through chain migration, which is interesting. His grandparents or grandfather came from Italy, arrived here, and then was able to bring in the rest of his family after he had been here for a while. That's called chain migration, another thing that they are trying to fight. Another interesting tidbit is that Bovino has repeatedly cited the threat of undocumented immigrants who've killed U.S. citizens while driving drunk. In 1981, Bovino's father, Mike Bovino, killed a young woman after drunkenly crashing his truck head-on into her car in the hilly little resort town of Blowing Rock, North Carolina. This was so disgusting. So the same woman who's called him the Liberace talks about how he refers to his fellow Border Patrol agents as a family, calling it the Green Machine for its uniforms and praising the agency as the country's biggest and best law enforcement arm. The Border Patrol has been my life's work, and I'll say that with pride, Bovino said in his 2021 podcast episode with, I don't know if that's Candace Owens. They end up reciting the Border Patrol slogan, honor first. But in private, some male Border Patrol employees are just as likely to twist that slogan to instead say, on her first, says Bud, the former agent who, the one who called him the Liberace. Bud said she and other women in the Border Patrol were raped as a rite of passage and had faced backlash if they complained. She pointed to the sexual misconduct cases that have been filed against agents over the years.
I mean, you just look at all these people in charge of these. They're all drug addicts, which is kind of wild. They're all a mess. And it's such a misogynist boys club that, look, no boys club I've ever been associated with would condone any of this. But like the worst people on earth, if you give them power and they abuse their power and they're fascists, shit like this happens to where it's normalized to say something like that and rape people. I mean,
it's a rite of passage. And I mean, listen, I know that happens in our military. It happens in the IDF to their own soldiers. I mean, I do think that there is that sort of like male, whatever it is, toxicity, anger, violence, but and it's like a self-determining crew, right? Like you go into this line of work because there's a part of you that already has that, and then but to work with people that you abuse like that is, and if you do that to somebody who you're on the same team with, think about what they're doing to the people they view as not even whole humans, right? Yeah, it's really gross. And then this other last detail was the agency has low standards for accepting new recruits, does not vet hires thoroughly enough, and routinely engages in excessive force, referring to detained migrants as tonks, the sound made when officers bash heads with flashlights.
Yeah, and the next line there said something about the standard practice here is to make up accusations, false accusations against people you just beat up.
Yep.
Which
really
sums up our entire police force, to be honest.
Yeah. And even, as you said, like even later, when he accused somebody else of hitting him in the head, then the judge said that Bongino admitted he lied about that. He just laughs when they call him out on the stuff, and it's just a bro thing. I mean, these people are completely out of control, and they are wreaking havoc on communities all over our country. And now they are starting to do this to U.S. citizens who are showing all of their documentation, but then it's like, well, we'll sort it out down at the station. People don't know where they're being taken. There was, there's another really good video that Status Quo just put out of, this woman being arrested, U.S. citizen, has all of her documentation. There's another video that an attorney put out of her on the phone trying to reach one of her clients. And, we've seen this happen so many times where agents arrive, they have no ID, they don't have shields, they have masked faces. They basically just kidnap people off the street into unmarked cars and drive away. And you're lucky if somebody around you can say like, hey, wait, where are you taking him? What's happening? Where are you going? They don't provide any information. And there are these, everybody has a different number once they're put into the system, unless they don't. And then how do you find them? I mean, there are children that have been missing for days, weeks, and adults also.
And I just want to say, like, most of the right also gets this. They understand this. They are not buying the propaganda about all this ICE stuff either.
Yeah.
There was a town hall recently where one of the Republican guys had to leave like 2 minutes into the questioning because his argument was, well, no, there's due process for Americans, but it's different. There's no due process for illegals. That's, his word kind of thing. But, but the audience was like, there's no due process for us if there's no due process for them, because part of due process is determining who the fuck we are.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he just bailed. He just bailed on his town hall.
And also, by the way, they do get due process. Like they are supposed to get due process, even if they aren't here. Like they are supposed to be still
treated. You can break crime.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you commit crime and you're entitled to due process. Just like you can't blow up a fishing boat just because you think there's something going on there.
And yet you can. I mean, that's where it's just like, it's just so outrageous. And I'm waiting for somebody to come save us, but the truth is, we're the ones who save us.
If we just had 2 or 3 more Democrats, we could fix all of this. Kamala's going to run. That's going to save us. AOC is going to run. That's
look at this. Look at this.
Your reaction, or do you think that you could beat J.D. Vance in a head-to-head race for president, as polling suggests, in 2028?
Listen, these polls, like 3 years out, are, they are what they are. But let the record show, I would stomp him.
Thank you, Congresswoman.
She saves all
none
of her
that moment.
Yeah.
And none of that moment was accidental. Just
right.
So you know.
Yeah.
This is all according to plan.
Yeah. Yep. It's not great. It is not great. All right. Any last word? There were a couple, just because Christmas spirit, these are short. This is what the administration is spending time doing.
Jingle bells, jingle all the way. Back to the places from which they came. Oh, what fun it is to ride. A free flight out of our country. Jingle bells, jingle all the way. To any foreign country, as long as it's not here. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh, dashing through the snow.
How very Christian of them.
It makes me so nauseated. I mean, it is disgusting.
The war on Christmas is over. Christ has won, and he wants to deport anyone to anywhere the fuck not here, says our leader.
Yeah, and as you said, it's not working. Even I think most of his base, but definitely most Republicans don't like how he's handling immigration, and certainly Democrats don't. But I also feel like what's really important to understand is these detention centers are not being built for immigrants. This is just the step on the path. They are not being built for immigrants. They are being built for that list of domestic, violent, leftist extremists, which is ever broadening because a lot of people could fit into any of those categories, right?
I mean, I checked every box, I think, pretty much.
And
if they
honestly,
listed 10 more, I would be honored to check the next 10.
Yeah. But I mean, I think most Democrats probably check quite a few of those. And I think quite a few Republicans and independents also do. It can mean anything they want it to mean, and they have the power. And we have to stop that. We have to stop that because that is the plan. They know what's coming. And this started with climate. Like they knew what was coming. That's when the billionaire bunkers started getting built. And that was, 30 years ago. And everything's only getting worse. So,
well, wait till you don't have healthcare, a job, or can't afford your rent. And you're critical of AI?
Yeah.
What? AI? That's anti-America because our whole economy is based on AI doing well. So, yeah, we're in a dark place, but fighting back and giving hell to every Nazi you can see is important, which brings us to our one good thing, I think.
It does. It absolutely does. I only got 2 glasses of wine, but we're trying to keep a tight ship here on Thursdays.
After party coming up. Wow.
Yeah, I'll be passed out on the couch. Yeah, you got to give them hell every chance you get. And, there are people in the UK who are on hunger strikes. They are ones who tried to shut down. They're part of the Palestine Action that's now been designated a terrorist organization for shutting down weapons facilities. But there are more of us than there are of them, and we have to make their lives miserable every chance we get. Amen. Unlike all of you who make our lives very happy. We love you guys. Thank you for your support. We are so happy to be here with all of you. We will see you on Sunday. Keep punching up.
Cheers.
These fucking Nazis right here. Oh, he looks mad. He doesn't like to be called what he is. Go ahead.
I pray for you.
You pray for me? You don't even know the words of Jesus, asshole. Jesus would be ashamed of what you do here. Jesus would be ashamed of your bullshit. My evil. I'm practicing my First Amendment rights that you assholes are trying to take away. Fuck you, Nazi! Another face of a fucking Nazi right here. Remember, people, the Republic will remember. Look at him, he's still drunk from last night. Look at Nazi piece of shit. You betrayed the Republic. We know what you are. We will remember your betrayals. You fucking little bitch, dude. You're dressing like it's 1920. Fuck you, Nazi!
Disorderly conduct for criminal prosecution.
Oh, yeah, disorderly conduct. It's called the First Amendment, asshole. It's called the First Amendment, you fucking pussy. But you're so full of shit. You are such a little bitch. Hey, don't fucking touch her. Walk around. Don't touch her. Goddamn Nazi. All the traitors of the Republic. Look at that. Look at that little pin he's got on his shit. Look at that. Doesn't believe in the Constitution. Doesn't believe in the separation of church and state. This is the face of the men destroying our nation. This man is a traitor. This man is a Nazi scum, hiding behind a black police officer because he's a little bitch. Look at this. Look at this fucking pig. This is for love of the game. Look at him pick on a little old lady. Officer Bongino, 2009, just assaulted a woman. Little ladies over here with a megaphone, and they sent the park police, the marshals, the FBI. If you really look at the violations of the Constitution, every single day there's a violation of the Constitution in one way or another. And by defending this, you support it. You support the babies being torn from their mothers. You support U.S. citizens being torn off the street without due process. Shame. Nation. What have you done for this nation? Oh, okay, lady. Okay. I've done a lot more than you have. Oh, yeah? You're telling that to a combat infantry veteran. You're telling a combat infantry veteran that he didn't do enough for this nation. Fuck off, you Nazi bitch. The man who preaches the hate. The man who preaches that citizens should be okay with owning people. This is the face of white supremacy in America. This is the face of white nationalism. God damn, dude, you are such a Nazi little bitch. I hope you're ready to, oh, look at that. Just what we needed. Reddit is gonna do its thing.